Trump's female strategy, a new tone. Also, Ivanka CLEVELAND Team Trump sees the Republican National Convention as a second chance for Donald Trump to make a first impression with the women who are likely to decide the presidential election. The billionaire businessman's standing with female voters, which has hit historically dismal levels, is prompting some of his advisers to try to moderate his tone, hone his message on security and spotlight daughter Ivanka at the GOP conclave that is poised to nominate him for president this week. There are a lot of undercover Trump voters, and a lot of them are female. KellyAnne Conway, the pollster and strategist who supported Texas Senator Ted Cruz during the primaries but recently joined the Trump campaign, said in an interview. They agree with him on issues but they aren't there yet to support him as a candidate. The 4-day convention is the best opportunity Trump will have, at least until the debates in the fall, to convince them they should. Women make up the majority of the American electorate, and as many as 3/4 of them tell pollsters they have a negative view of him. That's a big boost for Democrat Hillary Clinton. The majority of her backers say they plan to vote for her mostly because they are against him. Trump's weakness with women is one of the biggest hurdles he faces in terms of making the numbers add up in the country, says Geoffrey Garin, the Democratic pollster who advised Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign and is now a strategist for Primaries USA, the leading pro-Clinton super PAC. Democrats can't win without winning women, and Republicans can't win unless they find some way to reduce their disadvantage with women. Trump hasn't found the way to do that, at least so far. His 34% support among women in an ABC News/Washington Post poll released Sunday is a record low, lower than the level of female support on Election Day for any Republican presidential candidate since World War II. It's even lower than the backing from women that George H.W. Bush received in 1992, 37%, and Bob Dole in 1996, 38%, when the independent candidacy of Ross Perot meant the vote was being split 3 ways. Trump leads Clinton among men by 8 percentage points, 49% to 41%, in the survey, taken July 11 to 14, but simple math shows he needs to curb his yawning 20-point deficit among women 34 to 54% to have a realistic chance of winning in November. And he needs to do that without crossing the line that might bring accusations of sexism as he becomes the first presidential candidate to face a major party rival who is female. Here are some of the ways his campaign hopes to begin doing that: sense cool the rhetoric. The signature bluster that propelled Trump through the Republican primaries, denouncing Mexicans as rapists and murderers, proposing a temporary ban on Muslim immigrants, taunting the appearance of rival Carly Fiorina, and apparently mocking the disabled reporter has fueled the unease many women feel about the prospect of Trump as president. Trump already has begun to dial down the rhetoric, especially when he is reading from prepared texts rather than riffing at rallies. Look at the statement Mr. Trump put out after the Dallas shootings, Conway notes. It was very different in tone and content from what people are accustomed to. In somber comments, Trump called the assault that killed 5 Dallas police officers an attack on our country, but he also noted the senseless tragic deaths of black men in recent police shootings in Louisiana and Minnesota. He offered my thoughts and prayers for all of the victims' families. Sen's focus on security. Trump, who is seen as a stronger leader than Clinton, hopes to make the case to women that he would be a better choice both to provide economic security at home and protect Americans from the threat of terrorism around the world. Trump tweaked his now familiar campaign promise Saturday when he formally announced his running mate, calling Indiana Governor Mike Pence my partner in this campaign and in the White House. To make America safe again and to make America great again. Former Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, an early supporter of Trump, calls the issue of security a priority for women. "That's something I think will resonate with all women," she said in an interview. "They want the peace of mind to know that they are secure and that their families are secure." She predicts it could offset negative factors. "He's said a couple of things I was very uncomfortable with," she said of Trump, "but I could overlook it because of the other things he stands for. At least he's a truth teller. He's trying to tell you what he believes in, unlike Hillary Clinton, who can look you in the face and lie." Since spotlight his family, Trump's adult children have emerged as his closest advisors, and aides say the open affection and respect they express towards their father gives voters a more flattering and three-dimensional view of a figure sometimes prone to caricature. On the convention's opening night Monday, Trump's wife, Melania, is scheduled to be among the featured speakers. She is often by her husband's side but has spoken on only a few occasions. At a rally in Milwaukee this spring, she described Trump as kind with a great heart. That said, she also noted, when you attack him, he will punch back 10 times harder. Ivanka Trump, 34, is seen as a particularly effective bridge to female voters. She has pushed back against accusations of sexism against her father, saying he has been a pioneer in promoting women in his companies and calling him a feminist. She is an executive vice president of the Trump Organization and head of her own brand, and she has a book in the works titled, Women Who Work, Rewriting the Rules of Success, on how to achieve the work-life balance. To be sure, the Clinton campaign is trying to make Trump's outreach to women more difficult. 15 minutes after Pence was picked as Trump's running mate, Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta was calling the Indiana governor the most extreme pick in a generation and someone who had threatened women's privacy and limited their choice by signing one of the nation's most restrictive anti-abortion laws. Republican pollster with A's author of 2016 and Beyond, which in the wake of the 2012 defeat urged the GOP to focus on appealing to the nation's increasingly diverse electorate, is skeptical Trump can overcome his past provocative statements about women and others. But the candidate could try to change the subject. His better bet is to try to get them to focus on something else, he said. Trump's best argument, with 2/3 of the voters in the country thinking we're off on the wrong track, is to argue that something needs to change. That means continuing one thing Trump has been doing from the start, bashing Clinton,